All right, so it's been a while since we've really even cared about Classic, but there's an interesting thing happening here. And I think this is an interesting topic for everybody, even people who don't have an interesting Classic, because it's an interesting approach they're taking. So I want to quickly walk you through the timeline of what I have seen occur with Classic World of Warcraft. Okay. So I guess I don't actually know how many years ago, but before Legion, probably at the end of WoD. I mean, to me, the time the game has been the absolute worst. The end of WoD into the beginning of Legion. A private server called Nostalrius was opening, and it was very hyped up because um, I can't exactly remember. I remember a friend of a friend basically asking me in this friend's Discord if I was going to play it, and I was like, I don't even know what it is. I had played some classic private servers in like Cataclysm and before that, and it was like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll check it out. But they were saying like they were changing itemization. They were considering making a bunch of changes to the game to make it more competitive. Like it was trying to be a little bit more serious about WoW because up until that point, all the private servers that were popular were like people like joked about them being fun servers, meaning like they had high experience rates, bosses in very easy states, even easier than normal, which is hilarious. But so this server came out and people immediately flocked to it. Now I think like, in being completely fair, like they were like fudging their numbers. Like if you logged on at like 4 a.m., there was like 13,000 people online. Like it just never went below a certain number. So I think they were like fudging their numbers. But one way or the other, it worked. Nostarius was one of the most popular things that ever came from WoW, and not even from Blizzard, but from WoW. And the community that rose through the ranks at Nostarius when it eventually got shut down. So Blizzard offers a cease and desist, but they, as a goodwill gesture, they bring the Nostarius team to Irvine, California to talk to them, which is crazy. And apparently, I'm not 100% sure on all this stuff, but I'm pretty sure they brought at least one or two people from the team over. They had a talk with them, and those people said, like, okay, it seems like Blizzard is interested in making classic servers, so we're going to shut down our doors amicably because they're going to do this. Okay. So anyway, they do it. The community is like actually upset, but then happy because they're hearing this. And then Blizzard is just radio silent for like a year and a half. They have no updates. They don't announce it at the coming BlizzCon like the next year. And the Nostarius people just like abandon the plan and be like, screw Blizzard. They're not actually doing this. So they divulge all their stuff. Okay. So the reason I'm telling you that is because all of it was a chain reaction to show for people to say that they were showing Blizzard how passionate they were about classic WoW. Okay. And then TBC comes out. Like, I mean, just fast forward, they launched classic. It honestly was huge. Like, legitimately, it was ridiculously big. It might still be. I mean, I don't even know. Like, the whole concept of it is massive. And Blizzard listened to the community, apparently, quote unquote, who said, rallied around the words of, now former employee J. Allen Brack, who said, you think you do, but you don't, in regards to you think you want classic until you actually play it. And then you'll realize that there's a lot of stuff in there that you don't want and you won't be entirely happy. And that, to me, that's what those words have always meant. And they're just a fact now. He's actually 100% right. It just took him multiple years to see it, because now what we have here is proof. Like it's just absolute proof of this. Okay. So they got classic, and I think Blizzard literally launched it in a state that they knew was not good, just to say, hey, remember this, you sons of bitches. This is exactly what you fucking asked for. Don't even think about asking for anything else. You demanded we make this, and this is the state you're getting it in. So be happy you got it. And I think they literally did that. I think they actually like did that like almost like vindictively. And then a bunch of people were unhappy for a variety of reasons. That the content's a complete fucking joke. There's like zero difficulty. Like you spend more time out of raid getting raid buffs than doing raid. And it's pretty clear that there's a lot of bugs, or not even bugs, but just things that were really bad design from long ago. And then people were like, in the past, people were like, those things are you take the good with the bad with classic. That's what it's all about. and then TBC comes out and fixes like 50% of them, and everybody's like, "Fuck Classic, never going back there." Like honestly, I don't know now. Maybe because they've announced this, people are doing something again. But about a month ago, when the Shadowlands servers were down, but Classic servers were up, I logged on, and you would think that that would mean more people might even log on Classic, right? There was 14 people on the realm I used to be on, and that was on Pagel, right? One of the most populated realms back in Classic. It was like top 10 realm, and it'd been combined with like 6 realms when they launched TBC. So 14 people. And then, we sat there for like an hour and eventually kept going up, but it never got above 50. Like when you did a slash who, you could always see every single person. I mean, you can't play in an environment like that. And to me, the big issue there is that there's no way to solve that. Like you have to make it cross realm. Like that has to fucking happen. It's not optional. It's 2019. This is when this launched. You should have done this in the whole time. Like this should never. Anyway, a whole different topic. But my point is that you did think you did, but you didn't. People didn't actually want classic. That's just not what they wanted. They wanted some time machine. And I've been making videos on this for 5 years now, but you're not getting a fucking time machine, man. You're just not getting it. You're getting a video game that exists in 2021, and all those flaws are coming with it. And now people are unhappy. And now we have this. Okay, so I am actually interested in this, and I'm going to tell you why. First things first, I hate, actually despise, I'm going to use the word despise, the concept of a seasonal launch of Classic. People used to call it fresh servers. I hated it on private servers because the private servers were shady as shit, and they were always making promises that weren't real anyway. And everybody was like, fresh, fresh. We love to start fresh. It's like, so that's not Classic. That's not WoW. Okay. So that's again proof that you think you do, but you don't. If all you want to do is start on a server where nobody has any raid gear and then, race to see who could finish MC the first, that's not WoW. Okay. You're playing something else. So I don't like that they're doing this in the first place, but my only question right now is what happens to everything else? So I'm legitimately concerned with this. Like BattleNet's launcher has like a list of things that you can click on. That list can't get much bigger, man. Like it's a bit silly as it is. There's the PTRs. There's now eventually betas, and then there's like 4 different products. I mean, what do you do about the old Classic servers? Like, what's their actual plan for this? So anyway, let's read the whole post, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, greeting adventures. This is anyway. WoW Classic Season of Mastery is coming, and I think they're already considering making many of these because whenever you name something like this, they're thinking about Season of, something else in the future. Season of Mastery is coming, giving all players a chance to start fresh and a level playing field. This time around, we're planning #slightly more changes. I mean, that is so. It's almost like trolling, like legitimately, the fact that they're saying that, because if you didn't follow the Nestarius thing, so it was like people like marauded for years for this under the banner of #no changes. And that's why we're talking about this today, because it's like you were wrong, okay? And you're fucking wrong, but you're just too stupid to know you're wrong. All you wanted was a time machine. You wanted to go back in time to when you were a child and a noob, and you wanted to experience the game again that way. But that's not what you're ever going to get. But I understand it though, because I know a lot of people said like I have to agree with the no changes crowd because it's the only way that we could all agree. It's like that's a good point, because once you start making some changes, then the whole slippery slope thing that people were always memeing about, that comes into play, and now we have that, and that's because people just give up. Like there's nothing to play in there anymore. There's no content to do in Classic. It's literally over. Like 0 people fucking play. I mean, maybe there's some guilds on some servers out there still, but it's like I log on and you can't even find a group. I was actually considering making multiple accounts just so I could play the game. Like, that's it. Like I can play with myself. That's the only option. So anyway, we will launch new WoW Classic realms for Season of Mastery. So these realms will invite new and current Classic players to begin fresh at level 1 for a complete reset of WoW Classic's content, starting again at the very beginning of the World of Warcraft saga. So it's probably always been in the back of their head. Like it's you're thinking ahead and you're thinking this is a very easy out for us. So I'm not surprised. But again, new realms, like how does it launch? Is it a different client again? I mean, I really don't know. It's just like I don't know how you handle all of this technically, and I'm going to tell you right now. I hope that they have a plan because, like, so what's the best case scenario here? A lot of people play Classic again. Well, then what happens? TBC's dead. Like, I mean, there's only so many people, right? I don't think anybody quit Classic and quit TBC because TBC came out, right? I think like the people quit are not coming back, and they either moved on to Classic or they moved on to TBC, that is, or they're just done, right? I don't know, man. What's different in WoW Classic's Season of Mastery? As with the first release of WoW Classic, we're planning 6 content release phases. In WoW Classic Season of Mastery, however, phases. Oh my god, what's going on here? Phase unlocks will happen faster. We're planning for a 12-month cadence, with phases unlocking roughly every couple months. Here's the current outline for 6 phases. So, what was it before? It's like I was thinking about this, like me and Cop were talking about this a while ago, and it's like if every 2 years they release a new classic expansion, it might actually catch up to Shadowlands in a decade or so. But I, it was more than 12 months, I suppose, obviously based on the way they're writing it. But it wasn't 24 months, surely, right? So I don't was it like 18 months or something? I don't actually know. But even if they're doubling the pace, I don't know. Every couple of months, so it's like yeah, okay, sure. Phase 1, WoW Classic Season of Mastery launch. Molten Core, Onyxia, Meriden, and the Honor System, apparently, which is a big change because if you remember, I guess when they finally added Honor, it turned the game into like this. Or actually, no, I guess they added, that's right. They added Honor without Battlegrounds. Like, who is making these decisions? Oh my god. Anyway, phase 2. Stop this. Phase 2, Dire Maul, Azure Ghost, and Kha'Zix. So it's like literally like world bosses that 90% of the players can't even kill because they just get camped, and then Dire Maul, which is one single dungeon. Okay, well, I guess it's 3, but anyway, phase 3 is BWL, so that's phase 2, or that's like season 2 basically of what the equivalent of season 2 would be over there. And then phase 4, this is where it gets actually interesting to me, Zul'Gurub. So it's going to take me, so provided this is accurate, it's going to take me at least 6 months for Zul'Gurub. That's the only content I'm actually even interested in at this point. So anyway, Encourage War Effort for this, so then basically tier 3 and then tier 4. Okay, raid boss updates. This is actually interesting stuff here. The original release of WoW Classic was made to recreate the difficulty and challenge of 112 from the original World of Warcraft release. While we strive to bring a faithful recreation of the release, many raid encounters turned out to be easier than the first time around. Players simply were more experienced and prepared, and updates greatly increased player power. Yeah, I mean, regardless of what actually happened in the coding of the video game, it's pretty easy. The content is just like objectively easier than anything we've had, even like probably from Wrath and onward. Like, I mean, there's really nothing. You probably even TBC and onward. It's just like there's no actual mechanics. Like legit, there's nothing to do on these encounters, and they're just not tuned to be hard because the game wasn't made well. So everybody who like went into Classic with like the mindset of like, oh, this is going to be difficult, it's like no. I actually made a whole video on this, but the difficulty of Classic is like a very gradual, like it's like you start way higher. It's like a little plateau. Like the second you log on, it's difficult. From level 1, it's difficult, but it never gets any harder. Like it's that you probably have more trouble leveling a warrior like at level 20 than you would killing Ragnaros. Like like legitimately, I think it's actually harder to level characters than it is to play PvE in that game. Where it's a complete fucking opposite in Shadowlands, right? Like Shadowlands, I'm like making all these leveling challenges for it to even be remotely interesting, and so this it starts like at the very bottom of difficulty and then shoots through the roof when you get to mythic rating, right? It's like the whole game is a complete joke, and then all of a sudden it's the hardest thing you've ever done. So anyway, with that in mind, we're planning a few changes to make those early raid bosses pack a bit more of a punch and attempt to recapture the original challenge they presented. These changes currently include, but are not limited to, world buffs, disabled in raid instances. That's the best thing they could do, because that, I mean, I don't. The problem is I don't know what you do with those buffs now. I guess now they're cool for like leveling or something. It's a fucking awesome concept. I love the concept of world buffs. Absolutely adore it. But it's just not it. And this is a problem with 2021. This is a problem with people today. Instead of just being like, oh, this is awesome, this is going to be a slightly easier raid now that we got this buff, luckily, they're like, okay, we're waiting, we're not even raiding until this. It's like, man, that is just so out of the spirit of Classic in my eyes. I mean, so many things about the way Classic was played are, honestly, and that's what, like, I'm telling you right now, the reason I'm not playing Classic, I played Nostalgia. I was, like, I'm not going to lie to you, I was going to quit. I was going to disband the guild of, at that point, like, 8 or 9 years, and play Classic. That was my plan. Like, I was literally quitting Legion to play Classic. And I'm so fucking glad I didn't, first of all. But anyway, it was because it was like, it's such a great product to have a big group of players. And all the guilds on the Stars were raiding Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And it was like, man, I at the time I was thinking, like, if I could just have a group of people like the guild I had in Legion to play with in Classic, it would be the most fun I could ever have playing the game. And like Legion, I didn't really need a guild. Like, I didn't need to raid. I could just do Mythic Plus. I could pug. I could just play casually even if I wanted to. And I would still get a lot out of it. But in Classic, I was like, man, you just can't get a lot out of Classic unless you have a group. And God, that was such a bad mindset. I mean, it's so wrong, first of all, looking back at it. But anyway, the funny part about it is, like, I love Classic. I played it very seriously. I had 560s on Astarias, and it was a lot of my time. I mean, it's a lot. There's probably still people watching this video today that only know about me because of Astarias. So, um, it's kind of sad. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. But the game just got destroyed by the community, man. Like, literally, the reason I don't play Classic today is because of the community. That's it. And like, Shadowlands' community is not good either, but they're not so mandatory. You can avoid them. You know what I mean? But in Classic, you just can't avoid them. Like, they're fucking everywhere. They go out of their way to make the game worse. Like, the overarching meta, quote unquote, of Classic is ruined because of the people. Like, I always say this in Shadowlands too, but like, if I can just play a single player version of WoW, I think I would like it more. Like, honestly, just take all these idiots out of the game, and my experience would be better. But anyway, restoring mechanics that were removed early on to some raid bosses. So I don't know what this means. I assume they were talking about MC and shit because it's so bare bones mechanically. But I brought this up in stream the other day, and somebody's like, "Nah, they're talking about later, like, Nax and AQ," and I'm like, what the hell? Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, no boss debuff limit, up from 16 debuffs in WoW Classic. So that just makes the content easier. And then they're going to increase the health on bosses to offset player buffs and remove debuff limit. To offset player buffs. Yeah, I mean, I think they should just probably double the health pool of every fucking boss in Molten Core one way or the other. Because even if you looked at like opening week kills, it was still like 1 minute fights. It's like, listen, there's no 1 minute fights in any game. Like, the last time I remember there being a minute something fight was in the end of MoP when they added Mythic. It was super undertuned, like unbelievably undertuned. Siege of Orgrimmar. I remember killing Siege Master Blackfuse in 1 minute and 37 seconds, and we had it was like a 7 minute fight before that. That was the last time I remember killing a boss in a minute. Even in Mythic Plus, you don't kill bosses in a minute. So the fact that they're raid bosses with 40 players, bosses are dying in a minute or less, something is seriously fucking wrong about the tuning there. And literally, this is what I do in my Pokemon game. You don't need more difficulty. You just need things to last longer. In fact, we were just talking about this on stream yesterday, where Tagore was actually saying, the healer will be challenged if the fight is too long, so you need to make it as short as possible. Well, that's regardless of whether or not I agree with that, that's actually all you need to do here in Classic. Literally, all you need to do is just double, if not maybe triple, make every fight 5 minutes. That's it. Make every fight long, and then all of a sudden it's difficult. Then you have to care about what little mechanics there are. Your healers actually have to have plan. They can't just be DPSing the whole time. It's like, you have a minute fight, you can't possibly fuck that up. I mean, legitimately, how do you fuck up a 1 minute fight? What do you fuck it up? 20 players dying and it's now a minute 30? Like, I mean, that's just a complete joke. That's not a competitive environment. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing in my Pokemon game, by the way. I'm just like making, health pools bigger, so the player has to think more. And even if it's not actually harder, it kind of like creates the illusion of it being harder because you can see more potential mistakes. So it's all you need to do here. Anyway, so due to Season of Mastery's faster content release cadence, we are also planning several improvements and changes. These include faster leveling. We're planning on increasing the experience gains from what they were in the first iteration of WoW Classic. Our current plan is to set them close to what 1 to 60 experience rates are in Burning Crusade Classic, with a bigger focus on quest experience rates. So this is let's quickly read the rest of these. In addition, we're planning on introducing certain improvements that weren't in original Classic release, but we think can help create a better experience, such as meeting stones converted to summoning stones, increased mining and herbalism node. Realm tends to be more densely populated in WoW Classic compared to the original 2005. Increasing gathering node spawns should provide a more consistent economy this time around. Okay, cool. So I don't know what that's going to look like, by the way. But so these two things, this one, I guess most people probably aren't too upset about, but this has actually caused a lot of critique. Faster leveling. A lot of people are just saying no, 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 faster leveling. So let's talk about this really quick. Um, I, the only thing that keeps me interested in Classic to this day, there's two things, okay? The one, 80% of it, Zul'Gurub. It's my favorite raid ever. I've not done it in years. I wish I did it on actual Classic when it was out, but I was just so over it, I didn't even want to think about it, and I probably still don't. But Zul'Gurub is the one thing that keeps me interested. And if that was there at the beginning, like within the first 6 months, I might actually play Classic. So we'll see how long it takes them to actually get it out. But I imagine 6 months is still too long. Like even if it takes 3 months, I'd probably give up on it by then. But I like the faster pace of everything because it means that hopefully people will play more actively. In the original Classic, it was like this race to get to 60, and then everybody just split up. Like everybody was like doing stupid shit with each other, and there was no like, there was very little pugging aspect. I didn't feel like there was any community. It was like trying to do dungeons. It was like people were just reserving loot. Like they were just cannibalizing groups to try to get what they wanted and move on. Um, so anyway, that's a bad experience in my book. But I've been saying for years that if you just give me the TBC client, like I've literally like 10 years I've been saying this, if you just give the TBC client but classic content, that would be the best version of this game because TBC addresses so many nice things like faster leveling, better class design and balance. Like the guild bank, like all these other small features that come in TBC, the LFG thingy, which I still I don't even know if that's in TBC at this point. But so some of these things look like they're actually aware of that. Meeting stones is another one. There's a couple things. I remember there's like a list of 10 things I used to list off. But anyway, in terms of faster leveling, so in TBC, it took like I never actually got the characters to 60, but I leveled the character on a pace at what looked like it would be about 3 days played, maybe probably like 2.5 days played in TBC. Whereas in actual Classic, when I grinded, I leveled it in about 6.5 days played, I think was the Paladin. I just gave up at like 55. So it was we were getting on to 7 days played because I actually don't even remember now at this point. I remember being really satisfied with the pace for like 30 levels. But anyway, we just grinded. So I made all these videos on grinding. And the reason that you wanted to grind mostly was because the servers were going to be incapable of allowing people to quest. Like it's just not possible to quest on servers the opening week. Like it's not possible. The quests don't give, you literally can't do them. They're not quest tag shared. There's nothing like that. There's not enough mobs. It's just fucked. It's stupid. It's not WoW. Watching 600 people, like they form lines and shit. It's just not WoW to me. So faster leveling in Classic sounds very interesting to me, but if I'm only interested in actually leveling in Classic, why would I go? Like what? Like I don't really. The speed isn't really the issue. It's the bad design of it, right? Now I will say that there's some of the like. So the first thing being Zul'Gurub. keeping me interested. The second thing is all the world content that's in Classic that's not in Shadowlands anymore, man. And I've been saying this. If you haven't watched my leveling challenges at all, I literally say this almost every episode of every leveling challenge. Something makes me realize that, and I proclaim this. If you can just add back all the Classic content that you took out to Shadowlands in Chromie time, close the door, man. Like it's it. That'll be the end of it for me. I will never care about anything Classic related again. That's the book is closed. Sign it, autograph it, hand it out. It's over, man. That's all I want is the content that was taken from this game for no fucking reason. Cataclysm is the worst thing to ever happen in this game. 100 fucking percent. You will not change my mind on this. The more I think about it, the more I'm sure of it. They removed so many transmogs, patterns. I mean, I cannot even imagine how many transmogs they moved. Look, every time I constantly look at the transmog WoW Reddit and I see posts from people, I'm like, that is gorgeous. Let's take a look at that. It's fucking removed, man. So many items are not in the game anymore. It's embarrassing. Probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transmogs, pets. There's patterns, all this leatherworking shit they removed. You know, at least blacksmithing, you try to add some of it back. Like for some reason, they're adding leatherworking patterns back. They added some tailoring patterns back. Just fucking add this shit back, man. Those people were idiots. Who fucking removed all this shit? Think about the balls you have to have. I mean, even at the end of Wrath, WoW was legendary, right? No matter how early we're talking about, the game was a legend at that point. It was status above other games, right? Think about the fucking balls on whoever said, let's remove all this shit. Let's get rid of all this fucking shit that made this game legendary, right? What the fuck is wrong with those? Who did that? I mean, that's literally the dumbest decision I've ever heard in this game's history. And I know people are going to make like stupid, petty claims about like systems and shit nowadays. No, nothing is even remotely as aggressive as what Cataclysm was. There was no reason to do what they did without a contingency plan to keep all that shit in the game. And on top of it, they basically retconned the whole fucking video game too. Like, I mean, like everything that was interesting about the story in Classic basically doesn't exist anymore. I mean, even in TBC, look at what the Ashbringer situation was supposed to be, right? That's not like, it's just not true anymore. The whole situation with Alexandros Morgraine, they retcon that in Wrath. So it's like, I could see why they removed it because you had no fucking plan what you were doing in the first place. And then people are like, well, we need to salvage this somehow. So let's just remove it instead of try to fix it. It's just, man, I could go on about this for hours. Like I could literally, I'm telling you, there's episodes of leveling challenges where I talk about this for like 30 minutes straight. And I do it like every fucking weekend when I do these challenges. Anyway, I really like leveling. I really wish the content could still be in the game. I love world content. I love the world of Azeroth. I love the Eastern Kingdoms and I love Kalimdor and I love everything that's in Classic and leveling challenges. But it's just not interesting enough to me, man. Like the modern game is so much fucking better. Class design is so much fucking better. Everything about, you know, I could literally have a better Classic feeling experience by doing like a nomad leveling challenge with, you know, a no spec character like I'm doing right now, then I can go play Classic. The only thing that's stopping me is the fact that the content has been removed. I can't go to Dustwallow Marsh and do those quests anymore. They don't exist anymore. Well, some of them do. I can't go to, you know, the Barrens and go to Camp Tarajo because it's been attacked and ruined by dumbass alliance shit. You know, it's like, man, if I can just get that original version of WoW, then I don't give a fuck about anything else, man. So just, I mean, I know that's not what they're doing right now. They're not trying to please the fans from Shadowlands, but it's like, just stop wasting time with this shit, man. It's just fucking it's smoke and mirrors, dude. Nobody actually wants to play Classic. They don't. They just want a fucking time machine, man. I know there's some people, obviously, but like a vast majority of the people who return to this game, they didn't want to play Classic, man. They just came because they thought they were getting a time machine. They thought they were going to be able to go back to 2004 to when they were a kid, and as soon as that, you know, that veil was lifted, it's that they're done. The magic, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? It's over. So so you're breaking every rule, every logical rule of World of Warcraft by releasing Like so now there's going to be classic servers on two different timelines. Like what happens to the original servers? That's I really need to know that. I need to know that. What happens to the original servers? Because there's literally zero fucking people playing on. Like I bet if I logged on that server right now, I should do it, but I'm not gonna because I don't have the client up. There would be no people on that realm. I guarantee there'd be less than 50 people on that realm again. So why don't you fucking fix the problems that you created with this dumbass approach? There should not be 60 servers for Classic. And they're going to do the same bullshit again here. And they're going to just rest on their laurels. Oh, this is only going to last 12 months. So we don't really have to worry about server health. If you can't, listen, if everybody in Shadowlands could all be, and I guess they can't be because I've seen videos where people are like PvPing out in the open world and it's lagging because there's too many people. You got to get your shit straight here. The game is not playable if you're on a realm that has no players on it. It's just not. This isn't that kind of game, dude. You can't have a realm with this few players on it. So you better think really carefully. So you have a few three things that you need to do really well this time, Blues, because last time you fucked it up royally. Okay. Yeah, the one is fix the dumbass community bullshit, and they're actually also talking about mage buffs or whatever this is. A couple points we'd like to add to the discussion. We would like to make sure it's still viable to level alt in this accelerated time frame. With that in mind, we're planning to take a look at mage boosting in the beta for this release. We have some ideas for adjustment that can make to reduce its impact, especially in current hotspots like Meriden. I didn't even know about this. The proposed experience EXP gains are focused entirely on quest experience. We do not have any plans to increase other sources of experience at the time. So first of all, so this is another. So they're gonna nerf grinding. Well, not nerf it, but it's gonna be slow as shit now compared to questing. So I don't think anybody's gonna grind anymore. But you kind of have to. Again, like you can't. This game does not work. It doesn't fucking work. You can't have 1,000 people all in the starting zones. More than that, thousands of people in the starting zones and expect to buff quest experience. There's a reason people do this mage shit because it's guaranteed. There's no variables. You just go in and get boosted. I don't know a thing about it. All I know is watching this whole safe spotting shit. I can't believe it, honestly. I was joking about this. People were doing this in Zul'Gurub where they were jumping on this fence post, and the mob would run all the way back around, and then they jump off, and it would run all the way back around. Put snapping in Shadowland and Classic. Watch that shit fucking go away instantly. I love to see it. Imagine you have 30 fucking crocodiles running around this fucking fence thing. Jump on it, and they all snap up to you. Okay, I would love. Let me know when they put that in, and send me a video of that. The first person to react to that, because that would be absolutely hilarious. But I don't know what this is. All I know is it's grinding, and they're gonna kill grinding, man. So, which is fine. I mean, it's still gonna be like, I mean, unless they're actually gonna make it not give experience somehow. I mean, grinding is still like I'm gonna tell you, I actually like grinding, man. That's be true to the game. Like I don't know. Anyway, it's not really like I don't know in TBC did they do this too? I think they did. I think in TBC they made it like experience from quests go way up because I didn't even try grinding in TBC when it launched recently, and it was like so fucking fast. I was getting so much experience. I thought it was just because they lowered the amount of experience you needed, but I think they also buffed quests too. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, what should they be doing differently? What should they be doing better? First thing is you need a better plan for realms. Like, yeah, you need to fix this community bullshit, which I think they are doing. That would be the second thing. This whole nonsense here. I don't think any of this is going to actually matter. It's not. People are still going to kill the bosses in one pull, and it's still going to be, BWL is going to be cleared the night it comes out, but we'll see. And this isn't like the content's fault. It's the players. It's actually the game, really, like the overarching like premise of the game. Like there's just not enough power. Like things aren't distributed well. Like there's gear that's just overpowered early on in the game, and it makes your player very strong. And there's way too many things. But I think without world buffs, it might actually be a lot harder. So I'm interested. I'm interested in hearing about this. I hope that this works. And I guess nobody cares, but like world buffs and 5-mans, I guess they don't care about that. But I like the concept of some of the stuff. The main thing for me is just actual server stuff because I like so if I were to play this, I would probably just level characters, because it's just like unrealistic that I'll ever actually get to do ZG. But my question is like, what happens to the characters after a year? Like honestly, where do they go? Do they just get deleted? I don't know. You can't keep adding this shit. You can't keep making new versions of WoW over and over again, man. I really wish Blizzard would just pack it in. I know there's still people playing TBC, I'm sure a lot, but it's like this is just like it's not sustainable. You're not thinking long term here. You're not thinking about what this is. Like it's just like fucking like trying to bait people into coming back. You know, I don't know. I'm interested. Like it's interesting to me. I like the concept of it. Even back on private servers, like I always hated the fresh server thing, but I always liked it too because it was like the hype of that opening night is kind of cool. So maybe I'll play classic again. I don't know. The problem is the people are probably going to stop me from playing it. The one thing I will say, depending on when this comes out, I've been paying for a second WoW account to get the recruiter friend stuff in Shadowlands, and I now have two active accounts. So I've been thinking about ways that I could actually benefit from that to get some money back from it, and I think I could see myself dual boxing, leveling in classic. I've been thinking about it a lot, like shaman and warrior. I think that's what I would do. That's what I did on TBC, but it was on Alliance, and it worked out pretty well. I feel like those two things would go well together, but I was also thinking about priest, maybe priest and shaman. The problem with warrior is the charge. Like if you charge in, then the shaman has to waddle up and start auto attacking. So it's almost better to maybe two range characters. But anyway, I don't know. So let me know what you think. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts, especially if you have no interest in classic. Like think about this from a Shadowlands perspective. Like what is that? Imagine if they did something like this, right? It's just like a dumb idea, man. It's just like, oh, we have no possible way to make this game interesting, so we're just not even gonna try. So like imagine if every year you started from scratch. Like that's the thing. I don't want that. Like that's not WoW to me. I've been playing my fucking paladin since I was a child. Like, do you understand that? I was not legally able to vote when I started this paladin. Honestly, I'm like I'm gonna tear up right now, man. Like I've been playing that character for like it's insane. And just starting over, it's just not WoW, man. So don't do this shit, dude. This isn't right. But I don't know. Whatever helps, I guess. So let me know what you think. See you guys in the next one.